Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This time I want to talk about settings, in-game settings in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Right now I'm using the Quest 3, and like you see in my previous video, I'm using godlike mode with some super sampling using OpenXR Toolkit mod from OneSpeed. So right now I'm in this airport near Saint Moritz, and I'm achieving 90 frames per second. I have just used the Pimax Crystal Light here, and I was having 60 frames per second solid without stutters and butter smooth. This airport is beautiful. It's called Aeroclub di Sondrio, and as you can see, I'm flying the Skywagon. And let's talk about the settings. If you're not going to use a monitor or 2D, or not using anything but virtual reality, I highly recommend in your 2D graphic settings going to global rendering and trying to lower all the settings. For instance, here low, buildings low, displacement mapping off, trees low, plants, everything low. Don't touch the object's level of detail and terrain level of detail, because auto FPS will manage that. Then you have low, everything turn off, turn off. Here you see off, I mean off, everything turn off or low. Okay. Why? Because when you first launch Microsoft Flight Simulator, you're going to be in 2D, and all these settings are going to hit your graphics card memory. So we don't want that. We want the cleanest memory in your graphics card as possible. This is my opinion, okay? I'm not saying that this is going to work. Maybe it's a placebo effect or something like that, but I highly recommend to do this because I feel and I think it's getting better results when you go to VR. So, in VR graphics, okay, we're using the NVIDIA DLSS Super Resolution. In performance right now, this is a setting that is very personal. I like to get as sharp visuals as possible when I look at the edges or the trees, the runway. So I'm using this 200. You can use lower or 200. Just try it. Reprojection mode with the Quest 3 is off. With the Pimax Crystal is off too. Maybe with the River G2 you can try it, but this is like the synchronous space warp from Virtual Desktop or the smart smoothing from Pimax. Honestly, I can't talk about this because my headsets don't support this. The world scale, I'm using the OpenXR Toolkit feature, the same feature as here. You can try because this thing will make your your surroundings, the world, look bigger or smaller. So if you're inside the cockpit and you feel that the cockpit is too big or it's too small, you can change that here, and you will see that the feel is going to change. You will feel that the cockpit is better or larger or smaller. So try this. The NVIDIA Reflex low latency mode, I'm using on plus boost. You can try. This usually reduces the latency, but sometimes I honestly don't feel anything. So I keep it on, but I can't be sure that this feature or this setting is making something better for my performance. Try it. Okay, dynamic settings. Dynamic settings, we are using the auto FPS, so we are going to turn this off. Honestly, I tried this before auto FPS was working in 2024, and the results were not good. So I'm trusting auto FPS forever. It's a game changer and it works. So we are going to use auto FPS. Don't talk about this in the Microsoft Flight Simulator forums because they will kick you out. They don't like to talk about auto FPS because it's a great idea. They try to copy that here, but it's very, very poor implemented. Okay, global rendering quality. Here is you usually in the first time you have high, low, medium. Don't touch that. Just move to the all the settings. Okay, here. So terrain level of detail, we're going to use auto FPS. So don't touch this. Off-screen terrain precaching, I'm going to use ultra because I'm using a 4090. If you have a 4090, 4080, and even a 4070 Ti, 70 Ti or something like that, try ultra. Maybe you can try ultra with a 4060 and even lower um, a lower version of the 3000 series. So you can try. This thing is going to have the kind of impact you should get using off-screen terrain. It's usually 11-10%, so it's not a big hitter here. So try it. Try ultra. So this thing will render the scenery as far as you can. Ultra is bigger, it's larger, it's farther. So try it. Try ultra high, but I highly recommend ultra for VR because we want to keep the experience as real as possible. If you're moving your head and looking at the scenery popping up, that will kill our immersion. Displacement mapping. Displacement mapping is going to add the a method to have more detail on the terrain. So this is a big hitter. It usually costs you 20% of the rest of the performance. So if you're using this, maybe turn it on if you decide to go for a walk in the walking mode. Okay, buildings. The buildings are almost 20%. Also, you will see a 20% hit if you use ultra versus low. So you're adding more detail, but you're having less FPS. Trees. This is a big hitter. It usually costs you about 80%. It's terrible. So if you use ultra or high, maybe you can you can listen to my UPS that it's screaming right now. Look at this. When I put medium low, it's no longer there because the watts, the power I'm using when I use that feature, that option in low, I'm getting 360 watts. But if I'm moving to ultra, look, almost double. So that's what it means. 80% difference. Use it in low. Plants, use it in low. Usually it's like 40% between low and ultra. If you want, you can turn them off. And rocks, the same. Rocks are maybe little better the performance in high because or ultra. It usually hits about 10% between low and ultra. It's not the big hitter. Grass, low, because it's a 35% option of more FPS. If you use low, it will result in a 35 performance in better performance. Okay. Objects level of detail. This is by the auto FPS is working to change this number. And here volumetric clouds, it's a 40% heater. I usually fly without clouds because I want to have the best performance as possible. But in case you want and you have enough headroom, your option could be ultra, high, and if you're using auto FPS, you can tell the program to lower the volumetric clouds quality as soon as your FPS are affected by the terrain level of detail and the objects level of detail. Okay. Texture resolution. The texture resolution, honestly, is nothing. It's like 1% difference between ultra and low. So use it in ultra, always. Isotropic filtering, the same. I'm using off because right now in the NVIDIA control panel, I'm using 16 times. So you can use it here or turn it off. I don't think you will see any difference. Okay, what else? Water waves. It's a 10% difference between low and high, so I highly recommend to use it in medium because the difference, the graphics, the visual difference is even, it's not that important. In medium you will get nice waves and nice water, so I highly recommend this. Ray trace shadows. I have this turned off. I don't know if right now you can turn them off or on using the this thing here, because I remember that I used the config file to turn this off because honestly it's not working. Shadow maps. Shadow maps, it's a 3% heater, so I'm using 8192. You can't do this because it will give you just the option to go to 2048, I think, or something like that. You have to change the config file. I will show you this later. Terrain shadows. I have this turned off. Terrain shadows is a big hitter. It's a 70% heater between off and 2048. So turn this off. Terrain shadow. Contact shadows, it's 3% or something like that. I keep it low, but I should use it in ultra maybe or high. I will try this as we speak. Windshield effects. The windshield effects, if you want to see the drops, the water, and really nice and realistic graphics here, you will have to use high. Ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion is not a big hitter. You can use it in ultra or high. I usually don't turn this on because I don't fly it in conditions where I can really feel the difference between ambient occlusion on and off. Cube matte reflections. It's a 15% heater, so if you use 384, you will see a difference between the lowest, which is 128. This is the detail of the reflections when you are flying and look at the water. So you can turn this into 128 or 384 and try. Remarch reflections. It's the same. It's the method where you see the reflections. You can turn this to low, and honestly, it's not a big difference between the ultra option and the low, so we are going to keep this in ultra. It's like a 4 or 5% difference. Light shafts. Light shafts, the same. It's not a very hard heater for the FPS, so we're going to use it in ultra. What else? Light shaft. Glass cockpit refresh rate is 5%, so we're going to use it in high, or you can use it in medium. Characters quality is the amount of the density, quality, and display distance of the people in the airport, for instance, or the quality of the copilot, for instance, or the passengers. I usually keep it in low because it's a big hitter here. Traffic airport quality, I keep it in high. It's a 5 to 10% difference between off to ultra, so I keep it in high. Air traffic, I'm turning this off because honestly, the air traffic right now in 2024, it's bringing a lot of stutters. If you don't want stutters in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, turn this off. Even AI traffic, online traffic, everything will bring stutters. So my recommendation is to fly alone in the dark. Okay. Road traffic, this is not a very hard heater, so we're going to use it in ultra. Sea traffic, I'm turning this off because honestly, in VR, I'm not getting nice and good visuals from the ships. I'm usually not getting ships at all sometimes, and sometimes I'm getting crazy ships moving in circles or doing crazy stuff. So I'm turning this off because it's an immersion killer. And finally, fauna. I'm turning this off because it's a flight simulator, not a zoo simulator. So, and actually, I've heard that the fauna it's introducing a lot of stutters, a lot of FPS drops. So don't use this. If you're going to general online, as you see here, I have photogrammetry on and aircraft traffic type off. I know it's sad, but it's introducing a lot of stutters, in my opinion, so I practice flying aircraft just by myself. I don't care about the traffic. If you want to try it, you can try it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's awful. So, in my opinion, I don't want to see any aircraft in the air. It's sad again, but it's my opinion. Multiplayer off, multiplayer off, live weather could be turned on. Honestly, I never have any problem here. And that's it. Here, rolling cache. I'm using 16 here. And look at the amount of data consumption here. It's crazy for online gaming, you know. The bandwidth is unlimited. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to change the user config options file here. It's located in Steam, for instance. It's your users, your name, AppData, roaming, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Okay. Unfortunately, I will have to add the location for MS Store in the description of this video, because honestly I don't know where it's located. You can always check or look for the file here, search in your C drive, you can check this file, and it's going to be usercfg.opt options file. Okay, you click here. It's like a text file with different settings. Okay, here you have different options that we are not going to touch at all. You can take a look if you want. I have this. I don't know if I changed this before, but it's sharpen amount of VR2. Then I have you want to see the VR settings here. I'm going to go down, 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 down. Then you have here graphics VR. Okay, so here shadows, you have size, and you're going to put 8,182, that it's going to be 8K. This will make your shadows in your cockpit or outside the aircraft look really sharp, and it's not going to affect your FPS at all. Okay, remember, shadows, size 8,192. Then what else? Ray trace shadows. If you can turn them off, go here and in enable, just add a 0, and that's it. Those are the only options I change here in the usercfg.opt file. You save and you close the file, and that's it. You have to have the Microsoft Flight Simulator closed. You don't need to, you won't be able to change anything there if the simulator is open. So just exit the game, change the file, and then go back to the simulator. So let's see. Let me show you the shadows. With the sun, you will see here it's the opposite. Well, you can see the shadows here. There you go. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. Here, you see, these shadows are as sharp as my VR experience right now. So I highly recommend to use 8192 and you will see the difference. Okay, I'm doing whatever I want. It's a simulator, but it's also a game, so I just want to show you the shade here. The shadows, look, they look amazing, and this little thing will give you a lot of realism without having to sacrifice a lot of FPS. There you see it. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. Please subscribe, and bye bye. I'm going to die.